The night was heavy with mist, and the hidden market was alive with cruel laughter. Iron cages lined the path, but almost all of them stood open and empty. Only one cage remained locked, its bars rusted, its chains rattling in the damp air. Inside, a little alien girl sat huddled in the corner. Her eyes, silver and bright, reflected the lantern light like pieces of glass. She was small, almost fragile, her thin hands gripping the iron bars as if they were the only thing holding her to this world. The traders sneered whenever they passed her cage. Worthless, one spat, kicking the bars. The girl shrank back but did not cry. She had no tears left. Through the haze of smoke and dust, a human traveler appeared. His cloak was torn from the long journey, and his boots carried the dirt of many lands. He moved with quiet steps as if used to being ignored. His eyes wandered across the cages, then froze when they landed on her. For a moment, the world around him seemed to fall silent. He saw not just a prisoner, but a soul trembling against the weight of chains. The guards noticed his stare and laughed. "That one? She's nothing," one jeered. "Too weak to work, too small to fight, a waste of food." But the man did not look away. Something deep inside him stirred. He stepped closer, his voice calm. "How much for the girl?" The laughter grew louder. "You want her? Then give me your boots," the guard mocked. "Or a bottle of water, anything is more than what she's worth." The others joined in, spitting and clapping their hands, mocking the idea of a human wasting anything on her. The girl's silver eyes widened. She had expected to be left behind, forgotten until hunger ended her, but this man's words cut through the air like a knife. He was different. The man reached into his satchel and pulled out coins, real coins that gleamed in the torchlight. The crowd gasped. The Gua. R. Diaz frowned, suddenly unsure. This was no joke. He was serious. "Why would you pay for her?" one asked, suspicion thick in his voice. The man only said, "Because she should not die in a cage." A strange hush fell over the market. The girl pressed her face to the bars, her breath quick and shallow. She could not understand. She could not believe. Freedom was a word she had forgotten long ago. The guards unlocked the cage with rough hands, shoving the door open. "She's yours, fool," one spat. "Don't say we didn't warn you." The girl stumbled forward, her legs weak from sitting too long in darkness. She nearly fell, but the man caught her with steady hands. For the first time in years, she felt the touch of kindness, warm and firm, not cruel. She looked up at him, her lips trembling. "Why?" she whispered, barely a sound. The man did not answer with words. He only pulled his cloak around her, hiding her small form from the staring eyes. Behind them, the crowd muttered and laughed, calling him insane. They said she would bring him nothing but trouble. They said he had bought death with his own hands. But as he led her away into the mist, the girl clutched his sleeve, afraid to let go. A tiny spark lit inside her heart, something she had thought lost forever. Hope. And far above, unseen through the fog, the great shadow of an eagle moved across the stars, watching, waiting, as if fate itself had turned its gaze upon them. The mist clung to the ground as the man guided the little alien girl away from the cages. Her steps were shaky, her thin legs barely able to carry her weight. She clutched his sleeve with trembling fingers, every sound making her flinch. But freedom was not so easy. Behind them, angry voices began to rise. The traders were not laughing anymore. Coins had changed hands, and now suspicion filled the air. One of the guards shouted, "Wait, human, you paid too much. What game are you playing?" Others closed in, circling them with greedy eyes. The man tightened his grip on the girl's shoulder, keeping her close. He turned slowly, his voice steady. "I made a deal. She's mine now. Our business is done." The crowd jeered. "Not so fast," one spat. "No human risks real coin for trash unless there's a secret. Maybe she hides something, maybe you know what she is worth." The girl's silver eyes widened with fear. Her body pressed against the man's leg. She knew the danger was not over. The bargain had freed her from the cage, but not from the hands that wanted her back. The man's gaze swept the circle. His hand moved beneath his cloak, resting on the hilt of a blade. "You'll get no more from me," he said calmly. "Step aside." For a moment, no one moved. Then one guard grinned, showing rotten teeth. "Fine, human, we'll make another bargain." He pointed at the girl. "Leave her here, and you can walk away alive." The man shook his head. "No." The crowd roared with anger. Some picked up sticks and stones. The girl whimpered, certain she would be taken again. She pulled at the man's sleeve, whispering, "They will kill you." But the man bent low, his voice firm and quiet, "Not while I breathe." Then he stood tall, his eyes cold as iron. "You want another bargain?" he shouted. "Then hear this. She walks with me, and anyone who tries to stop us will pay in blood." The crowd fell. Silent, his words cut through the night, sharper than any blade. For a moment, the mist itself seemed to pause. The guards exchanged uneasy glances. They had seen many humans before, but not one like this. This one did not fear them. He looked at them as though they were the ones trapped in cages. Finally, one spat on the ground. "Go then, fool. Take the cursed thing. She will bring you nothing but ruin." The circle opened slowly, angry eyes following every step. The man led the girl forward, his hand steady on her shoulder. She walked close, her breath quick, her heart pounding. When they reached the edge of the market, she looked up at him. "Why?" she whispered again. The question hung in the mist like a fragile thread. He did not answer, but his silence spoke louder than words. He had chosen her, not for what she was worth, but because no one else would. The girl felt something strange stir in her chest. It was more than relief, more than fear. It was the first flicker of trust. Behind them, the traders muttered darkly. Their eyes glowed with greed and anger. The bargain was done, but they would not forget. As the man and the girl disappeared into the shadows of the forest, the sound of wings echoed faintly above. The eagle moved unseen through the night, circling, watching, waiting for the story that had only just begun. The forest swallowed them whole. Thick trees rose like walls, their branches twisting into a roof that blocked the moonlight. The mist from the market still clung to their clothes, but here the air was colder, heavier. The little alien girl clung to the man's cloak. Her small feet stumbled on the uneven ground. Every crack of a twig made her flinch. Every shadow looked like a hand reaching for her. The man slowed his steps, listening carefully. He knew the traders would not simply let them vanish. Too much coin had been placed in his hand. Too much insult had been thrown at theirs. He expected pursuit, and he was right. From behind, faint voices carried through the night. The shouts of men, the clatter of weapons. The hunters were already following. The girl's breath quickened. "They are coming," she whispered. Her silver eyes darted around the trees. "They will find us. They always find me." The man crouched low, pressing a finger to his lips. "Quiet," he said gently. His sharp eyes searched the path ahead. He led her off the trail, into the thicker woods where roots and rocks tangled together. Branches tore at his cloak, thorns scratched at his arms, but he did not stop. He carried the girl when her legs gave out, her light weight pressing against his chest. She trembled, but for the first time she did not resist his hold. Behind them, torches flickered through the trees. Their pursuers moved fast, calling out threats. "The girl is ours. The human will pay with his head." The man pressed forward, his breath steady. He had run through worse than this, but never with another life depending on him. He knew he could not fight so many, not yet. The girl buried her face against his shoulder. "Why do you keep me?" she whispered. "Why not let me go? They will leave you alone if you do." He glanced down at her, his voice low but firm. "Because I do not abandon the helpless." The words burned in her chest. No one had ever spoken to her that way. No one had ever seen her as more than a burden. Suddenly a howl echoed across the forest, not from men, but from beasts. Dark shapes darted between the trees, drawn by the noise of pursuit. Wild creatures with glowing eyes, sniffing for prey. The man gritted his teeth. They were trapped between hunters and predators. He stopped at the edge of a ravine, its bottom hidden in shadow. The drop was steep, the rocks jagged. The hunters' voices grew closer. Torches lit the trees with a fiery glow. The girl whimpered, her small fingers digging into his cloak. He looked at her, then at the ravine. His choice was made in a heartbeat. He pulled her close and whispered, "Hold on." With a sudden leap, he plunged into the darkness. The wind howled past them. Branches cracked, rocks scraped. The girl screamed but clung tight. They landed hard on a slope, sliding down until his boots dug into the earth. His body shielded hers, pain searing his arms and back. But they were alive. Above, the hunters cursed, unable to follow quickly in the dark. Their torches waved like angry stars. But the man and the girl were hidden now, lost in the black heart of the forest. The girl lifted her head, her silver eyes wide with shock. "You jumped," she whispered. "You risked your life for me." The man's breath came heavy, but his voice was steady. "I told you, I will not let them take you." In that moment, something shifted inside her. For the first time, fear was not the only thing in her chest. For the first time, she felt safe. Even in the darkest night, above them, unseen through the branches, the shadow of the eagle circled once more. Its piercing eyes followed every step, as though destiny itself had already chosen its path. The forest was silent except for their ragged breaths. The man held the little alien girl close as they made their way along the ravine. The ground was damp, the air sharp. The torches above were fading, but danger was far from gone. The girl looked up at him, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "They will not stop," she whispered. "They will hunt us until they catch me." The man's jaw tightened. His body ached from the fall, but his grip on her was firm. "Then we will keep moving," he said. His eyes scanned the black sky above, alert, always searching. That was when he heard it, a low hum, deep and steady, a sound that did not belong to the forest. He froze, lifting his head. The girl clutched his arm, her body trembling. "It comes," she whispered. Through the gaps in the trees, a vast shadow passed across the stars. Its wings spread wide, larger than any living creature. Feathers of black steel glimmered with faint red light. A giant mechanical eagle circled slowly, hunting. The girl's breath caught in her throat. Her people had called it the Sky Warden, a machine built long ago to capture runaways, merciless, unyielding. She had seen it before, always from far away, always when someone was taken. The man pushed her against the wall of stone, his body shielding hers. The hum grew louder. The eagle tilted its head, sensors glowing like cruel eyes. With a cry that split the night, it dove. The trees shook as it descended, branches snapping under its weight. The ground trembled when its talons struck. The man shoved the girl aside, rolling as one claw slammed into the earth where they had stood. The eagle's head turned sharply, locking onto its prey again. Its wings spread wide, kicking up a storm of dust and leaves. The girl screamed, certain this was the end. But then something strange happened. Instead of crushing them, the eagle's talons wrapped around both the man and the girl. Its claws closed like iron bars, yet they did not pierce. The machine lifted them into the air, higher and higher. The man struggled, his blade flashing, striking against metal that did not bend. Sparks flew, but the eagle did not flinch. Its massive wings beat like thunder, carrying them away from the forest. The girl clung to him, her silver eyes wide with both fear and awe. "It does not kill us," she gasped. "Why? It always kills." The man gritted his teeth, holding her tightly against the pull of the wind. "Then it means someone is controlling it," he said. His eyes narrowed, staring at the horizon as the eagle carried them across mountains and valleys. The cold air whipped around them. The night stretched endless and dark. Below, rivers glistened like silver snakes. The world shrank beneath the eagle's shadow. Finally, with a cry that echoed like thunder, the eagle descended. It carried them to a valley hidden between jagged cliffs, a place glowing faintly with alien light. The machine set them down roughly, then rose again, circling high above like a watchful guardian. The girl stumbled, her knees hitting the ground. She looked around with wide eyes, tears brimming. "This place," she whispered. "This was once home to my people." The man helped her to her feet, his eyes scanning the ruins scattered across the valley. Broken towers, shattered walls, and glowing stones that pulsed faintly with forgotten energy. The eagle shrieked from above, its cry echoing through the cliffs. It did not leave. It circled endlessly, as if guarding them, or perhaps imprisoning them. The man placed his hand on the girl's shoulder. "Then we must find out why it brought us here," he said quietly. The girl's lips trembled. Her eyes lifted toward the sky. "Maybe," she whispered, "it is not the eagle who chose, but fate itself." The valley stretched wide and silent. Its walls of jagged stone rose like a prison, keeping them hidden from the world outside. Strange lights glowed faintly along the ground, running through cracks in the stone like veins of fire. The little alien girl stood still, her silver eyes shining. She turned slowly, as if afraid that the valley would vanish if she blinked. Her lips trembled. "This was the heart of my people," she whispered, "before it was taken, before we were hunted." The man stepped carefully over broken stone. His eyes scanned the ruins. Tall pillars lay toppled, half buried in moss. Strange symbols glimmered faintly on shattered walls. As he touched one, a faint hum echoed through the air. The girl gasped. "It still remembers," she said. "The valley is alive." Above them the eagle circled, its massive shadow passing again and again. It did not leave. Its cry echoed against the cliffs, sharp and cold. The man narrowed his eyes. "It's watching," he muttered. "But why bring us here? Why not hand us back to the hunters?" The girl lowered her head, clutching her thin arms. "Because this is where my bloodline ends," she whispered. "I am the last daughter of the valley. That is why they wanted me. That is why they caged me." Her words hung in the air like a heavy chain. The man looked at her with surprise. He had thought her only a frightened child, weak and forgotten, but now he saw the truth. Her people had been powerful once, and she was their last spark. As they walked deeper into the ruins, the ground pulsed faintly with light under their steps. The girl's silver eyes grew brighter, her voice steadied. "They hunted us because of what we carried," she said. "The gift of the valley, the light in our blood." The man listened in silence. His hand rested on the hilt of his blade. He had no gift of blood, no glowing eyes, but he had something else, a will that would not bend. They stopped at a broken archway, its stones still upright though cracked. Symbols carved deep into its surface glowed when the girl touched them. A low hum rose from the ground, shaking dust from the ruins. The girl looked up at the man, her face pale. "It accepts you," she said, her voice trembling. "It sees you as protector." The man frowned. "Protector? I am only a wanderer." She shook her head slowly. "The valley does not choose by mistake." The eagle shrieked overhead, its red eyes flashing. The sound echoed across the ruins like a warning. The girl's hand tightened on his cloak. "It will not let us go until the choice is made," she whispered. The man gazed across the glowing ruins. The silence felt heavy, as if thousands of eyes watched them from the stones. He looked down at the girl, her silver eyes full of fear and hope, and knew the truth. Her freedom was no accident. She was not worthless. She was dangerous to those who ruled, precious to those who remembered, and now bound to him. Night settled deep over the valley. A strange fire lit the stones, shadows dancing across broken walls. The girl sat beside him near the ruins, her small body wrapped in his cloak. She looked at him with quiet intensity. "My people believed freedom must be repaid," she whispered. "And freedom is never free." Her words lingered like a secret carried on the wind, a secret that would change everything before the dawn. Above them, the eagle's wings cut across the stars, a dark guardian waiting for the moment when destiny would demand its price. The fire cracked softly between them, throwing flickering light across the broken stones. The ruins glowed faintly, alive with the strange energy of the valley. Above, the eagle circled endlessly, its red eyes gleaming in the night, watching, waiting. The little alien girl sat close to the man, wrapped in his cloak. Her silver eyes reflected the firelight, but they were not the eyes of a child anymore. They carried a weight, the memory of a people lost, and the burden of being the last. For a long time, neither spoke. The forest beyond the valley was silent, no sound of hunters, no beasts, only the hum of the stones and the steady beat of the eagle's wings. At last, the girl broke the silence, her voice soft but steady. "You saved me. You carried me from the cage. You risked your life again and again. In my people's law, freedom must be repaid." The man looked at her, his face calm but unreadable. "I asked for nothing in return." Her lips trembled, her hands clenched in the folds of his cloak. "But there is always a price," she whispered. "Freedom is not free. A life saved must give back a life, or a night beside the Savior." The man frowned. His hand rested on the hilt of his blade, not in threat but in habit. "A night?" he repeated, his voice low. The girl lifted her head, her silver eyes shining with fire and fear. "One night," she said. "That is the oldest law of my bloodline. If I do not give it, then the valley itself will take me back." The man studied her in the firelight. He saw her trembling hands, her fragile frame, her desperate courage. He had known many customs across many lands, but none like this. "You are free now," he said at last. "Your life is your own. No law can bind you if you do not choose it. but she shook her head fiercely, her silver hair catching the firelight. "You do not understand," she whispered. "The valley lives. It remembers. If I break its law, it will call me back into the cage of stone, and I will vanish forever." Her words sent a chill through the air. The fire hissed as though the stones themselves listened. The man's jaw tightened. He did not believe in curses, but he could not deny the hum of power in the ruins. The girl leaned closer, her small hands gripping his arm. "Please," she whispered, "do not make me beg. Do not make me face the valley's punishment. Let me repay you as my people demand." For the first time, the man looked away. His eyes turned to the fire, to the shadows dancing on broken walls. He was a wanderer, a fighter, a man who bent to no law but his own. Yet here was a child of another world, trembling and desperate to follow a tradition older than her tears. Finally, he spoke, his voice rough. "If this is truly your choice, then I will not refuse you." The girl's eyes softened, her breath unsteady but full of relief. "Then tonight," she whispered, "I am not the last of my people. Tonight, I am free." The eagle cried out above, its shadow sweeping over the valley. The stones glowed brighter for a moment, as if acknowledging her words, as if the law of her people had been heard and accepted. The man sat in silence, the fire warm at his side, the girl leaning against him. The night stretched long, filled with secrets, filled with truth, and in that moment, both of them knew their lives would never again belong only to themselves. The fire had burned down to glowing embers by the time the man's eyes snapped open. A faint sound drifted through the valley, sharp against the silence. It was the clink of metal, the crunch of boots, the guttural growl of voices carried on the wind. The girl stirred beside him. Her silver eyes flickered open, fear returning at once. "They found us," she whispered, clutching his cloak. The man rose quickly, his blade sliding free with a soft hiss. He had known the hunters would not give up. He had seen their greed, their fury. He had expected them. But not so soon. Shadows moved at the edge of the ruins, dark figures carrying torches. Their flames burned like angry stars in the mist. The eagle shrieked above, its cry echoing across the cliffs. But this time, it did not descend to protect. Its wings circled in silence, as though waiting to see what choice the man would make. The girl trembled. "They will not stop until they have me," she whispered. "The bargain means nothing to them now. They saw the eagle take us. They know I am not worthless." The man placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "Then we run, and if we cannot run, we fight." He led her deeper into the ruins, weaving through broken arches and collapsed walls. The hunters' torches lit the valley with cruel light. Shouts grew louder, boots clattered against stone. The girl stumbled, nearly falling, but the man caught her, lifting her into his arms. Her small body pressed against his chest as he ran through the ruins, his breath steady, his eyes sharp. Every corner was danger, every shadow a trap. The hunters moved faster. Their leader's voice roared across the valley. "Bring me the girl alive! The human is nothing! Kill him if you must!" Arrows whistled through the night, clattering against the stones. One struck the ground near the man's feet. He ducked behind a fallen pillar, setting the girl down. Her silver eyes were wide, filled with panic. "They will not stop," she gasped. "They will tear you apart. Please leave me. You can still live." The man's voice was calm but fierce. "No, I told you, not while I breathe." The girl's lips trembled. A tear slipped down her cheek, not of despair but of something else, something she had never felt before, trust. The hunters closed in, torches flaring brighter, the air filled with the sound of steel and boots. The man gripped his blade, ready to stand alone against many, his eyes locked on the shadows moving toward them. Then the eagle shrieked again, but this time its cry was different, sharper, louder. The ground shook as it descended, its metal wings smashed against the ruins, scattering the hunters like insects. Its talons struck the ground, tearing stone apart. The hunters screamed, some fleeing, others standing their ground, but the eagle's massive form was unstoppable. It moved with deadly precision, its red eyes glowing. But this time, its fury was not aimed at the hunters, it was aimed at the man. The eagle's head turned, its gaze locking on him and the girl. The man's grip tightened on his blade. He stepped in front of her, ready to face not men, but a machine older and stronger than any soldier. The girl gasped, clutching his arm. "No, it will kill you." The man did not look back. His voice was steady. "Then it will learn what it means to fight a human." Above them, the hunters regrouped, their torches burning brighter. The valley was no longer a hiding place. It had become a battlefield, and in its heart stood one man, a fragile girl, and the shadow of an eagle that refused to let them go. The ruins shook as the eagle landed, its wings stirring up clouds of dust and ash. The hunters scattered, shouting in terror, but the machine did not chase them. Its glowing eyes fixed only on the man and the little alien girl behind him. The girl clutched his cloak, trembling. "It knows," she whispered. "It knows I am the last. It will take me and kill you." The man stepped forward, blade drawn. His body was small against the towering machine, but his eyes burned with defiance. "Then it will have to fight me first." The eagle shrieked, its cry splitting the night. Its talons crashed down, smashing through broken stone. The man rolled aside, pulling the girl with him. He leapt onto a fallen pillar, climbing quickly. His blade flashed in the firelight as he swung at the machine's leg. Sparks burst, but the steel did not break. The eagle turned its head, its beak snapping open. A beam of red light shot out, scorching the ground where he had stood. The girl screamed, covering her face, but the man charged forward, leaping across shattered stone. His blade struck the eagle's wing joint. A groan of metal echoed through the valley. The hunters, emboldened, raised their weapons. "Kill the human! Take the girl!" They roared. They rushed forward, swords and spears clattering. Their torches lit the ruins like fire. The man spun to face them. His blade moved fast, striking steel and wood. He kicked one hunter aside, disarmed another. His movements were not perfect, but they were fueled by something more than skill, something stronger. The girl watched, her silver eyes wide. She had never seen such defiance, not even among her own people. Her people had run, hidden, begged for mercy. But this human stood against both men and machine. The eagle roared again, smashing its wings into the ground. Hunters were flung aside like rag dolls, but the man remained, his cloak torn, below, ood on his arm, yet his eyes unbroken. He lifted his blade high, shouting into the night, "I am not afraid of you." For a moment, even the eagle paused, its red eyes narrowing. The valley itself seemed to hum louder, as though the stones listened. The girl stumbled forward, her voice trembling but strong. "The valley accepts him," she whispered. "It gives him strength. It calls him protector." The man charged again, climbing onto the eagle's wing as it rose. He swung his blade at the glowing lines of energy running along its body. Sparks exploded. The eagle shrieked, thrashing wildly, trying to shake him off. Hunters scattered, their courage broken. Some fled into the night, others fell to the ground in despair. None could face the fury of the man or the machine's rage. The girl ran to the base of the ruins, her hands pressing against the glowing stones. She whispered words in her native tongue, words of old power. The ground shivered, and the valley itself pulsed with light. The eagle froze for a heartbeat, its wings jerking, its eyes dimmed for a moment. The man seized his chance, driving his blade deep into the joint of its neck. Sparks burst like fireflies. The machine staggered, roaring into the night. He leapt free, landing hard on the ground beside the girl. His chest heaved with breath, his blade blackened with heat. The eagle stood shaking, its eyes flickering, not defeated, but wounded. It turned its head slowly, staring at the man. For the first time, it did not strike. It only shrieked once more and rose into the sky, leaving the valley trembling in its wake. The girl collapsed to her knees, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You fought it," she whispered. "You stood against the Sky Warden itself." The man dropped to one knee, his blade still in his hand. "And I am still here," he said, his voice steady, though his body shook. In the silence that followed, the valley glowed brighter, as if bowing to the human's will. The valley lay silent after the battle. The hunters had fled, leaving behind only broken weapons and the stench of fear. The eagle had vanished into the clouds, its shadow gone from the stones. Yet the air still carried its echo, a warning that it would return. The man stood with his blade hanging at his side. His chest rose and fell heavily. His arms were scratched and burned, his cloak torn, but his eyes were steady. He turned to the little alien girl who knelt among the glowing stones. She looked at him as if he were something more than human. Her silver eyes shimmered with awe and sorrow. "You fought the hunters," she whispered. "You fought the eagle. No one has ever done this for me." The man shook his head. "I did what anyone should do." But she pressed her small hand to his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart. "No," she said softly. "You did what no one else dared. You chose me when the world had already thrown me away." Her voice trembled, yet her words carried weight. "Now I must choose." The man frowned. "Choose?" She lowered her head, her silver hair falling across her face. "My people are gone. I am the last. The valley binds me to its law. If I stay, I will be its prisoner. If I leave, I can be free. But freedom demands a price." Her words hung heavy in the air. The stones glowed faintly brighter, as though listening. She raised her eyes, tears glimmering. "I can walk away from you. I can vanish into the stars. But if I do, I will live alone, hunted, empty. Or," she hesitated, her voice breaking, "I can stay with you and share my fate with yours." The man's jaw tightened. He had expected danger, not this. He had not come for bonds or vows, yet the truth stood clear before him. Her life was tied to his now by choice or by fear. He crouched beside her, his hand resting gently on her trembling shoulder. "You are free," he said firmly. "No, oh law, no valley, no machine decides for you, not me, not anyone, only you." The girl's breath shook. Her heart pounded as if the valley itself was inside her chest. The eagle's shadow haunted her mind. The hunter's laughter still echoed in her ears. She had known nothing but cages and fear, and yet when she looked into his eyes, she saw something else, a home. Her lips parted, her voice soft but unyielding. "Then I choose you." The man blinked, but he did not move. His silence asked what words could not. She lifted her chin, silver eyes blazing. "I choose to walk beside you, even if the world hunts us, even if the eagle never stops. I would rather be free for one life beside you than a prisoner for 100 without you." The ruins seemed to hum louder. The stones glowed brighter. For a moment the valley itself acknowledged her decision, accepting it as truth. The man's hand tightened on her shoulder, his voice low. "Then you will not be alone again." She leaned against him, tears sliding down her cheeks, not of sorrow but of release. For the first time, her choice was her own, and her heart was not afraid. Above them, far in the distance, the eagle's cry pierced the sky, but it did not descend. It circled once and faded into the clouds as though even it could not deny the choice made that night. The girl closed her eyes, whispering, "I am free." And in the silence that followed, the man knew that her freedom was not only hers, it had become his as well. Dawn crept slowly into the valley. The mist lifted as golden light touched the broken stones. The night's battle felt like a fading dream, yet the marks of struggle remained, shattered walls, scorched earth, and blood darkening the rocks. The man stood at the edge of the ruins, his blade resting against a pillar. His eyes scanned the cliffs, but no hunters returned. The eagle was gone, its shadow absent for the first time. The silence was heavy, but not hostile. It was the silence of an ending and the beginning of something new. Behind him, the little alien girl stirred. She rose from where she had been resting, wrapped in his cloak. Her silver eyes reflected the first light of day, softer now, no longer filled only with fear. She walked to his side, her bare feet silent on the stone. For a moment she only looked at the horizon, where the sun climbed slowly into the sky. Then her voice, small but strong, broke the stillness. "The valley has released me," she whispered. "I feel it. The law is fulfilled. I am no longer bound to the cage." The man turned to her, his expression unreadable. "And what do you want now?" Her lips trembled, but she lifted her chin with quiet courage. "I want to walk with you, not for one night, not for one debt, but for as long as you will let me." The man studied her. He saw the bruises of chains still on her wrists, the weakness of her body, but also the fire in her eyes. She was no longer the trembling child in the cage. She was something more, someone who had chosen. He nodded once, slow but firm. "Then walk with me." The girl's breath caught. her silver eyes filling with tears. She took his hand in both of hers, her small fingers gripping tightly. For the first time, her touch was not desperate or afraid. It was steady, filled with hope. They left the ruins together, climbing the narrow path out of the valley, the stones beneath Tiu. Their feet glowed faintly one last time, as though bidding farewell. The hum faded, leaving only the sound of their steps. The climb was long, the air thin, yet neither faltered. At the top of the cliffs they paused, looking back one final time. The valley lay hidden in shadow, a place of memories, pain, and destiny. The eagle was nowhere in sight, but its cry lingered in the wind. The girl pressed closer to the man, whispering, "It will return. It always does." The man placed his arm around her shoulders. "Then let it come," he said quietly. "We will face it together." The words wrapped around her like armor. She had lived her life as a prisoner, waiting to be taken. But now she felt something she had never known before. She felt unbreakable, because she was not alone. As the sun rose higher, the forest beyond the cliffs spread wide, endless and alive. Birds flew through the sky, rivers shimmered in the distance. The world was vast, dangerous, but free. The girl tightened her grip on his hand. "I thought freedom was only one night," she whispered. "But it is more. It is every step beside you." The man looked down at her, his eyes softer now, and for the first time since the journey began, he allowed himself a small smile. Together, they stepped into the light of morning, not as savior and captive, not as human and alien, but as two souls bound by choice. And though the shadow of the eagle still circled somewhere above the world, it no longer felt like a curse. It felt like a reminder that freedom had been won and a bond had been forged that would last beyond one night.